AWS Dev Day. I'm Alex Casalboni. I'm your truck owner for this truck today. I want to briefly introduce the event and kind of set out the expectations and let you know what to expect for today. So how many of you already attended an AWS Dev Day in the past? Okay, nobody. Great. That's perfect. No problem. So just to give you a little idea of what the Dev Day is, so it's an event. It's a free event, as you noticed already, that is intended for developers and data engineers and DevOps. You know, people that have already some kind of AWS experience. So the idea is exactly that: to spend a whole day together and learn and dive deeper into some of the topics. So in this truck, you will find topics related to data engineering, machine learning, data science in general. There are 2 more tracks about backends and architectures and modern application development like containers and serverless and so on. So that's the theme for today. We want to do all things AWS for a full day together. We're going to have a few breaks so you can network and talk to people, talk to the speakers. We're going to have even a little game, a little quiz at the end, so make sure you pay attention to everything. We have 3 beautiful prizes. It's $100 credits, so you can even do more on AWS and experiment and build your projects and prototypes. Julien, how many hours of GPUs are $100? It's a lot of GPU hours, so you can play days of GPU. So you can do a lot of stuff with this. So if you get your answers right, I think it's a good chance to experiment and dive deeper yourself in your account. If you're not already part of the community, I encourage you to check it out. There are a couple of groups based here in Kyiv. So they have monthly or bi-monthly events to discuss AWS topics, maybe have themed event every few weeks or months. So that's the agenda for today. It's a lot of content. It's a lot of different topics. So you should also have the same agenda on the back of your badge. So make sure to check it out and go and find the topics that you enjoy the most. Thank you for being here this morning already. It's not on the agenda, but at the end of the last session, again, in every truck, we are going to have a little quiz, like 4 or 5 questions to win these prizes. Just make sure you choose the right truck based on your background knowledge, so you have more chances to win. I want a little round of applause for the sponsors that made this event possible, because I don't know if you noticed, you didn't pay anything, and I think it's good. We want to learn. We want to invest on education. So Social Tech, SoftServe, Wix Engineering, and DTech, those are the great sponsors that made this event possible. I also want to give a special thank to Provectus, which is an AWS partner focused on consulting, who basically organized this event with our support. So if you meet them around, thank them. That's why we are here today. So it's time to get started. Enjoy the day. If you need anything and you see some of the speakers, feel free to stop them, ask them questions. That's why we are here. There are at least 6 or 10 of us around, so find us, talk to us. That's why we're here. And I'll hand it over to my teammate, Julien, for the first session. Thank you, everybody.
I'm gonna need this. Thanks. Okay, so all right. Can you hear me okay? Yes, that's better. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Thank you, Alex, for the intro. Thank you to all the sponsors and all the people who organized this. It's been a long time coming. I've come to Ukraine quite a few times in recent years for third-party conferences. Maybe we've met, so come and say hi. But it's really cool to be back with a solid official AWS Dev Day. Thank you, Alex, for organizing this. So, as you can guess, my name is Julien. I'm a tech evangelist with AWS, and I focus on AI and machine learning. And we have a whole bunch of sessions today. So In this first session, we're going to start with, I would say, an intro to the high-level services for machine learning and AI on AWS. And as the day goes by, we'll dive deeper and deeper into machine learning, going all the way down to Amazon SageMaker and all kinds of crazy things. Okay, so you're going to learn a lot. Our mission, I guess my mission, the reason why I fly around so much is because I want to make sure every developer out there can use machine learning and AI services. And it's okay if you don't have a lot of experience. Most developers have no machine learning experience whatsoever, but companies and organizations need AI and machine learning integrated in their services and products and so on, applications. So we need to build stuff that works for everybody out there, not just the experts. And the way we build is always a little bit different. So as usual, we start from customer feedback. Okay, we build nothing unless it has been requested by customers. Okay, so the services that we'll talk about today all come from direct customer feedback. And we move pretty fast. We started releasing services over 2 years ago now, reInvent 2016. Okay, yeah, 2.5 years. And just last year, in 2018, we launched more than 200 machine learning features. Okay, so the services that I'm going to be talking about today, they change, I don't want to say every day, but every week there's something new at least. And actually last night, we launched a new service. I'll talk about it. So it moves very quickly, so you need to, if you looked at those services maybe a year ago, take a look again because there's a whole bunch of new stuff. Okay, as you will see, we have a pretty wide range of services. We think we cover a lot of use cases now. And when it comes to actual machine learning, we just support all the frameworks. So it doesn't matter if you like TensorFlow or PyTorch or Keras or something else. Chances are we support it correctly. And of course, we believe machine learning is not something that lives in isolation. You need to have additional services for security and analytics, etc., etc. So the machine learning is not something else. It's engineering, and you need other AWS services to work with it, and we have that. Okay, so we'll talk about all that stuff. As it turns out, more machine learning runs on AWS than anywhere else. These are just some of our references, and you find usual suspects. I mean, yes, you would expect, Netflix and Intel and NASA and Twilio, all the really big ones. But as you can see, we have, smaller startups, and it goes to show even small organizations who don't have a lot of machine learning skills can run their workloads on AWS. So this is the stack today, and in this first talk we'll focus on the first level, so what we call the AI or high-level services. So these are API services that you can call directly and get the job done. Okay, so we'll cover pretty much all of them. Okay, so need to pay attention to time. The next level down is what we call ML services, and it's really a family of services organized around Amazon SageMaker, which is a fully managed service for machine learning. And we'll dive deeper into this one later today. And at the lowest level, we have, of course, EC2 instances and optimized machine learning frameworks that we provide for engineers who want to build everything themselves, who don't want to use managed machine learning. And we'll talk about some of that stuff as we go. Okay? But for now, we're going to focus on that top level. Okay? So Rekognition, Textract, Poly, Transcribe, Translate, Comprehend, Lex, which I'm not going to talk about because I had to sacrifice one in the interest of time, Forecast, and Personalize. So the orange ones are the ones that were launched at reInvent 2018, so about 6-7 months ago. All of them were launched in preview. Textract is now generally available. Personalize became available last night, so anyone can use it today. Forecast is still in preview. Okay, and Comprehend Medical is available as well. We'll talk about that. So the those services are really high-level services that solve one specific problem. Okay, so Rekognition deals with computer vision. Poly, transcribe deal with speech. Okay, text to speech, speech to text. Translate, comprehend, deal with natural language processing. Okay, etc., etc. So they solve one very specific problem, and the common point is these are API services. Okay, so you call one API and you get the job done. You don't need to bring a data set. You don't need to train a model. Again, any developer can use those in 15 minutes. Okay, even the most junior developer out there can use that stuff. Okay, so you can very easily. Most of those operations are one single API call. So it's going to be one line or two lines of code. You can add that stuff in your app in 10 minutes and do some tests, I guess, and push it in production. Or you can change the code in production. Why not? We all do that. But not in Ukraine, because you do software engineering here, and I don't. And of course, we constantly optimize, improve, and retrain those models so that you can just get the best service. So Rekognition, for example, is regularly improved for increased accuracy, translation models, etc., etc. Okay, so let's get to those, and of course, we're going to do a bunch of demos. So let's start with Rekognition. So Rekognition was launched at re:Invent 2016, and as I've told you already, it's about understanding visual context and content. Okay, so images like this, and the first API is what we call object and scene detection. So very simple: take an image, pass it to an API, and in real time you get a JSON answer that tells you either what the objects are. Okay, so bounding boxes and classes and labels. Okay, so basically what's in the picture. Okay, just like that. Okay, no training, no data set, just pass your API, get the job done. We can do face detection and face analysis, pass an image, and here there's a single face, but if we had multiple people in the picture, we would of course detect each of them. So again, the bounding box, the coordinates, the position of the landmarks, so eyes, nose, etc., and some attributes like gender, age range, emotion detection, and a few more things. Okay, again, what you really get is a JSON document, but I don't think you would enjoy reading JSON on the slides. Okay, so I simplified it a bit. Okay, again, one API call, real time, and you do this. So here's a real life example from a workshop I've done last year in Greece, I think. Okay, just passing a very bad selfie to Rekognition, and yet we detect all the people in there, and for each face, we can just see the location of the face and the attributes, etc., etc. Okay, we're going to try this in a minute. We can do face comparison and face search. So face comparison is this: take two pictures and compare faces in the first picture to faces in the second picture. And here we compare 1, 2, 3, but we could have 10 people here and 10 here, and we try to match everybody. Okay. So we're detecting faces in each picture and then trying to match if that's the same person. Okay, so you can pass those two pictures and compare. We can do a face search, so we could take a picture of everybody in the room, build what we call a face collection, so index a mathematical model of each face, build a face collection, host it in your AWS account, and then we could take another picture and try to match a given person to the collection. Okay, so if you want to do face matching against potentially thousands, millions of people, you can do that. So here's an example of Rekognition being used for that. It's a fintech company called Ayla Credit, and they provide micro loans, okay, in emerging markets, especially Africa. And one of the problems that they have is in those markets, you can't just walk to the bank, right? The nearest branch office could be 500 kilometers away, right? So how do you provide loans to people? So they've built a mobile app. So you enroll to the app using an official document, so passport or something, and then when you want to apply for a loan, you just identify or authenticate yourself by showing your face to the mobile app, and Rekognition matches your face against the customer face collection. Okay, so I think this is interesting because it's a very simple, very straightforward use case, but you would need a service that is considered strong enough for biometric authentication. And in this case, money gets delivered to those people just on the account of their face being recognized by Rekognition. So, not too bad. This is another one, very different. So it's a company called Marinus Analytics, and they build tools for law enforcement agencies, and specifically here to find missing kids on the internet. So they take pictures of missing children, build a face collection, and then they have automated tools that crawl, all the ugly places and the dark net and all that crap. And they try to match those missing kids to pictures that they find in there, or pictures that are found during police investigations. Okay, and it's typical of use cases that could not be done manually, right? Imagine you're looking for tens of thousands of people across the internet, billions of pictures. Okay, even if you had 1,000 police officers, you would not be able to do it. Okay, even if you had 10,000 police officers, you would not be able to do it. Okay, here you can automate this process 24/7 and find those people and send the information to law enforcement and go and rescue them. Another API is image moderation. So in some cases, if you have user-generated content that is uploaded to your web app or your mobile app, you want to make sure it's okay. You want to make sure it's appropriate for your website. Okay, so if you run a fashion website or a holiday website, that's probably okay. If you have a a family-oriented website, maybe it's you could discuss if that's okay or not. And if, let's say, you have a religious website, maybe that's not okay. Okay, and in some cultures, this is never okay, whatever the website is. Okay, so again, manual moderation is complicated. Here, you can just pass this picture to Rekognition, and it's going to tell you what it is. Okay, from very mild stuff to very explicit stuff. And I'm not going to demo it. You can try it if you want, but it works. And then you can decide if it's okay for your website or not. Okay. We can do celebrity recognition. Okay, so celebrity recognition is basically face detection plus celebrity detection. Okay, so I took this picture. So you won last night. Okay, congratulations. So I just took a picture of the Ukrainian football team and tried it, and it's not too bad, right? We can try this one in real time, actually. So let's go to the Rekognition console, and we could try celebrity recognition. Okay, so we know who that guy is, right? Okay. Okay, so here I'm uploading the picture to Rekognition, and okay, so we do detect the 11 players, and okay, I checked some of them, and they seem to be correct, right? They seem to be correct. I have to say I'm not an expert on Ukrainian football, but these are actual players in the team. Okay, and as you can see, it's a very high confidence score. Okay, so we have sports players, actors, artists, politicians, business people, etc., etc. So in some cases, you will get extra information in the answer. You could get maybe a Wikipedia URL, or you could get an IMDb link for movie stars, etc., etc. Okay, so just real time processing here. We can also do text and image. Okay, so the name is pretty obvious. Detecting words and sentences in pictures. So this is not an OCR service. We do have an OCR service called TextRact, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. This is really about text strings, brand names, road signs, whatever, in photos. Okay, and we can see here a proper JSON answer. So the bounding box, the actual text. Okay, and if we had multiple words and sentences, we would have the specific blocks for that. Okay? So here's Rekognition. Let's do a few more demos. So what could I show you here? Okay, so we could do... Okay, here's the football team again, right? Okay, so here I'm basically calling, I'm using Python. Yes, I could just do this. So copying the image to an S3 bucket, Simon public, and calling the detection API, just to see what's happening there.
"11 faces have been detected. Here are some keywords about this picture: human, person, people, team, sport, sports, team sport, football."
Okay, so here we have scene detection, so labels, and I just show labels that have more than 85% accuracy, but you would get much more. And then I call face detection, and we can see 11 faces are detected. And for each of them, we see those attributes. And of course, we get the bounding boxes. Okay, so we could use that information and then plot those boxes on the picture to see where those people are. Okay, and this is really 2 API calls. Okay, one for 2 lines of code, one for labels, one for faces. Okay, let's do another one. So here's a picture. Okay, so this is an advertisement in Las Vegas. Okay, and believe it or not, the story is the people living in that neighborhood asked for the ad to be taken down because it gave them a bad reputation accordingly. Okay, if you've ever been to Las Vegas, complaining about alcohol abuse in Las Vegas, it's a bit of a it's a bit of a paradox, let's call it like that. Okay, so let's say I have I want to create a $1 billion startup that reads road signs as I drive, okay, and translates them to my native language. So I'm driving around in Las Vegas and I see this. Okay, so I could basically use some AWS services, okay? So, I can use Rekognition to detect text in that image. I'm going to use comprehend, which I'm talking about in a minute, to detect the language of that text. Then I'm using Poly. We heard Poly again, right? Just a minute ago. I'm going to talk about Poly, so text-to-speech service in English. And then I'm going to use translate to translate it to a bunch of languages and speak that sentence. Okay, and I could be driving around and listening to my app telling me what's what. Okay, so let's give it a try.
Bombay East Sapphire alcohol, it's cheaper than therapy.
Bombay East Sapphire alcohol, es más barato que la terapia.
Bombay East Sapphire alcohol, c'est moins cher que la thérapie.
I got that one.
Bombay East Sapphire alcohol, es ist billiger als Therapie.
Алкоголь Бомбай Восточный Саптир – это дешевле, чем терапия.
Bombay East Sapphire alcohol, セラピーよりも安いです。
All right, we could go on with more languages, but you get the idea, right? One API call for each thing, combine those services, build something silly like this. Okay, but of course you're going to build something clever. Okay, because you have real business problems to work on. Okay, and it's actually pretty good because if there's a minor error, because it says Sapphire, it's really okay. You can zoom in a bit. So it got that bit, right? The text in image managed to extract this stuff. So it says Bombay Sapphire, okay? East. So it confused it, and one letter is wrong, basically. But hey, can you read this stuff? Right? So it's pretty good, right? It's pretty good at figuring out complex text, okay? So there we go. We can do all kinds of things with Rekognition. And of course, we're going to talk about these other services, but you have a sneak preview. We extended Rekognition to video, okay, and we called it, you can guess, Rekognition Video. So we can do all those things, okay. On video streams, you can stream live video feeds into a service called Kinesis Video. You probably know about Kinesis, or messaging. High-performance messaging service. So there's a special version for video streams. You just push video frames into Kinesis, plug that into Rekognition, which is one line of code, and you can do live video processing. Okay, of course, since we have videos, we can do a few more things like activity detection and object tracking, because we have multiple pictures. Okay, so we can say, okay, this is person 1 and it's moving in the stream. Okay. They used this service for the royal wedding in the UK a while ago now, last year, I guess. And Sky News was broadcasting the video feed, and they were using Rekognition to identify celebrities in real time. So I guess everyone would know who Elton John is, David Beckham, Victoria Beckham probably. But if you can name the prince of the royal family of Lesotho, congratulations. I don't think any journalist, except maybe from Lesotho, could pick up those celebrities, right? So it's a pretty deep collection of faces. And again, it's all in real time. So Rekognition is really, really easy to use. It's state of the art. Like I said, we keep updating it. We keep improving those models, training on bigger data sets, etc., etc. Integration is really one line of code for each of those APIs. Even on video, it's actually super simple. It's low cost. You just pay for what you use. Okay, as usual with AWS, you don't subscribe to anything. You don't pay any upfront money. You just pay per API call. You never manage any servers. This will scale to the moon. Just again, call APIs. And as always, your data is always your own. So we don't use the images for anything. They're in your AWS account, or the videos as well. You can just copy them there, delete them. Okay, we'll never use that data for anything. Okay. All right, so let's move on to Poly. So we had a sneak preview of Poly. Poly is a text-to-speech service, which is super simple.
Salut, je m'appelle Léa. Je suis la nouvelle voix française de Poly.
So take a text string, select a voice in a specific language, call the API, get in real time a sound file that you can play right away, or you can save it for further use if you want.
Salut, je m'appelle.
Yes, we got that, thank you. 29 languages and 59 voices, so this is the up-to-date list. So for most languages we have at least 2 voices, male, female, etc., etc. Okay, and we keep adding to that. I mean, when the service came out at reInvent 2016, we just had maybe 5 or 6 voices, and now it's 29. Okay, 59 voices, 5 or 6 languages. I mean, 5 or 6 languages. And now we have 29, and it keeps growing. So it's not just text to speech. You can also use a markup language called SSML to customize the way the speech is spoken. So let's give it a try.
The price of this book is €45.
Okay, so SSML lets you change the pitch, the intonation, etc., etc. Okay, and there's another one that I like. It's called the breathing effect. So just in your text, just insert this SSML tag. Pay attention. Sometimes it's a little difficult to hear that on the loudspeaker.
Salut, je m'appelle Léa. Poly est un service qui transforme le texte en paroles réalistes, vous permettant de créer des applications qui parlent et de bâtir une toute nouvelle gamme de produits dotés de paroles.
Okay, so it's a little difficult to hear here, but you have breathing pauses, right? And they're not in the text; they're automatically inserted by Poly, and you can hear the the intake. I have another example we can try using SSML. Yeah, I think that's this one here. Okay, so this is what SSML looks like. let's go back to Poly. Okay, can you see this stuff? No. Okay, now you can. Okay, so basically here, I have this simple text and using volume and specifically controlling breadth. I'm gonna make it sound pretty realistic. Where's the play button? Yes.
Wow. That was quite fast. I almost beat my personal best time on this track.
Okay, so you can make it sound out of breath, scared, plenty of things like that. So you can really make that sound, that speech sound very, very realistic, just by using simple SSML. And this works with all the languages, of course.
Salut, je m'appelle.
Okay, so anybody uses Duolingo? Okay, so Duolingo is a language app. And they were trying to find the best voice quality because they realized the quality of the voice that students listen to is a strong factor in how well they learn. Okay, it makes sense. If you listen to terrible English accent, you're not going to learn English properly. So they run A/B tests with Poly and other providers, and they found that the success criteria, which is how well do students learn, was the highest when they used Poly. Okay, so for all the languages that Poly supports, that's what they use. So if you use Duolingo with one of the supported languages in Poly, that's what you listen to every day. Okay, super easy to use. Let's move on. So translate, I guess I don't have to explain what this does. This was launched in 2017. It's real-time translation. Just one API call. I guess I can show you a demo in a second. Automatic language recognition, so you don't even have to specify the source language. And again, low cost because you just pay per API calls. So these are the supported languages. And again, this keeps expanding. Just I guess a couple of weeks ago, we added Hindi, Farsi, Malay, and Norwegian. So we have a pretty good coverage. And you can pretty much convert from any language to any language. Okay, that's what those language pairs are. So if you want to do, English, of course, English to anything is supported. But if you want to do Polish to Japanese, it's supported. We're missing a few Chinese language pairs because we want to get to the right quality level. But generally, you can translate from one to any of those. Okay. So let's do a couple of examples. Okay, so this is just using, here I'm using the AWS CLI. We could use the console, we could use Python, Java, we could use anything. But basically this is how it works. And now we could actually do better than that. Do this now. All right, so just take this Chinese. Anybody speaks Chinese? All right, so I'm safe. Yes. All right, and you got to prepare for demos, right? So there you go. It detected the source language correctly, and it translated into English. And if you read it, it's reasonable English. Okay, Chinese is a little difficult. We could try Chinese to something else. We could try Chinese to French. I can check. It's actually pretty good. Yep, it's actually pretty good. Which languages do we have in there? We have Russian. Should we try? Okay, I guess some people speak Russian here. I don't, so you have to tell me, right? Okay, I'm guessing it's going to be Are you? Yeah. All right. Take your time. Tell me how bad it is. It's okay. Yeah. I mean, it's actually a good example on how customers use this. So let's say you have a website or a mobile app and you have maybe hotel reviews, that kind of thing, and you have thousands, tens of thousands, millions of pages. Okay, customer reviews, imagine, booking.com, hotels.com, that kind of thing. Okay. So of course, the top level pages, you want them to be exactly right. Okay. So traditionally, customers would use human translators for that. But we see even for those high value pages, they use Translate, and then to get a good quality translation, and then if needed, they get a human to proofread and fix everything. Because we've all done this, right? Translating from scratch takes more time than proofreading and fixing mistakes. Okay, and then for the long tail, the hundreds of thousands of customer reviews and like lower value content, they automate that stuff with Translate. Okay, so if one word is not exactly right, if I was looking for a hotel in China or in Russia and I had Russian reviews, that wouldn't help me. If I have a good translation, not perfect, it's okay. It's enough to know there's a railroad track next to the hotel and it's noisy and you don't want to stay there. Okay, so it's very typical of how customers use that stuff. So that's Translate. And you saw Translate with my billboard example, so super simple to use. Okay, let's move on. So the next one I want to talk about is transcribe. So Poly is text to speech, transcribe is speech to text, okay, the reverse operation. So we support those languages, and interestingly, you see accents are very important, okay. If you have a US English model and you try it with people who have a very heavy French accent, let's say, it doesn't work so well because intonation is off. And so accents are actually very important. Okay, and French and Canadian French are a little different. And US Spanish, yeah, we don't have Spanish, but I guess we'll have Spanish at some point. So accents are really, really important. So pass a sound file. It could be batch mode or live, again, streaming transcription. And in real time, you get, so the text, obviously, you get the punctuation, you get timestamps, so you know exactly when a certain word was spoken. If you need to do captioning, for example, that's quite useful. We support high quality files, but also low quality, like telephony audio. A lot of call center customers use this because they want to transcribe customer calls for analytics and so on. So sometimes, phone quality is very bad, so you need to support that. We'll recognize multiple speakers, so not the actual people, right? But we say, okay, speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, back to speaker 1, etc. So we can identify who says what. And you can also inject custom vocabulary saying, okay, here's a list of words you're likely to hear. Let's say, it's a medical conversation. You want to make sure all the medical jargon is transcribed right. You could provide a list of words saying, okay, these are words you may hear, and this is the exact spelling. Okay, so you can customize that stuff. Okay, let's move on. The next one is comprehend. So comprehend is basically a natural language processing service. Oh, interesting. Nice. Thank you, PowerPoint. Okay, yes. There was nothing weird on that slide. I don't know why it crapped on me. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so you have a collection of APIs. So take a text string or text document, and you can do entity extraction. So what are the important bits? Okay, people or company names, locations, they get highlighted. Key phrases, so the important bits. Language detection, sentiment analysis, and syntax, which tells you, okay, this word is a noun, this verb is a verb, etc., etc. Okay, so it's I guess I can show it to you really quickly. All right, so comprehend. Okay, so here's a bit of text. We can analyze it, and we can see, entities. So the pink stuff, organization, Starbucks, Boeing, organizations, etc. Seattle is a location. Seattle, Washington is a location. Vancouver, BC is a location. Seattle is a location. Okay, again, you would get a JSON answer with the information. Okay, people, etc., etc. Okay, so that's entity extraction. Okay, key phrases. I guess it's too small for to have key phrases. Language detection. We can detect 100 languages accurately, even short pieces of text. I mean, I actually tried it with Ukrainian tweets versus Russian tweets, etc., versus Bulgarian tweets. And if tweets are very short, okay, and it does pick up those languages very, very nicely. So even if you have a little bit of text, it should detect which language it is. Sentiment analysis, okay, this is neutral, and syntax, okay, tells you this is a noun, this is punctuation, this is a verb, etc., which is useful if you want to do natural language processing after that. Okay. You can do a few more things with comprehend, but in the interest of time, I'm gonna skip that. We have a version that we specialized for medical text. Okay, so we've all seen this, right? You go to the doctor and that you get your exam report, and it makes no sense whatsoever. Okay, my parents were doctors, so I know. Okay. So they write that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's even worse. Okay, so we built a version of. So let's analyze this. Okay, and again, in real time, we can figure out. Maybe let me zoom out. Maybe a bit. That looks a little weird. Okay, that's better. So we can see this is personal. The orange stuff is personal information, okay, which is very important to highlight because maybe you want to anonymize it. The green entities are diagnosis, okay, so sleeping trouble, rash, lesion, etc. So DX is means diagnostic, okay. This is a drug name. Okay, and this is a drug name too, and you can see we can actually tie these, so the dosage, the frequency, we can actually relate them to the drug name. So it's not just extraction, it's extraction and relations. So that, let's say, if a hospital receives an alert for a specific drug and they need to know which patients in the last month got more than 20 milligrams of Vyvanse, whatever that is, once a day, okay? They can quickly run this query on their database and get the result, instead of going through a million paper documents that maybe they misplaced or can't locate, etc., etc. So this is very nice, okay, for healthcare applications. I think this is invaluable. Okay, so comprehend medical. Okay, what's left? Okay, TextTract. Yes, so TextTract is an OCR service. So OCR is it's been there forever, right? I mean, I remember running that stuff on my PC in the 90s, right? You could do that, but this is a little bit more clever because it will extract text and also structure. So if you have tables and forms, it's going to pick them up. Okay, and it's one line of code to do this. You can do this on single page documents or multi-page PDFs, etc. Okay, so let me show you. Let's take my phone bill and see what's what. Okay, so TextTract. Try it. Okay, let's upload a document. Okay, so this is my phone bill. Okay. And here I can see raw text. Okay, so raw text, and if I want to say, okay, where's that bit? Okay, I can see it highlighted. Okay, so every piece of text here is detected correctly. But there is also some structure in this document. Okay, so there are no forms, but there's definitely a table. Okay, so what you get when you call this API is a JSON answer with the structure of the table. Okay, so it's not just a table being displayed on screen. It's a table actually being defined in the API answer that you get here. So you would know, this bit here is actually, that specific line in the table, that specific cell in the table. Okay, so if you have complex reports with forms, tables, you can just extract them and index them with the structure. Okay, and if you need to convert this to, let's say, HTML or whatever, it's actually very easy to do. Okay, so you can actually convert structured documents from one format to the other. Okay, so that's Textract, and it's available to anyone now. Okay, just a couple more things, and then I'm done. Okay, so the last two I could actually, they're actually twins, right? So I'm going to explain. Just one of them, I guess, and quickly, and the other one is just very similar. So those services are called Personalized and Forecast. So Personalized, like I said, it went generally available last night, so you can all try it. And Personalized is a fully managed service to build recommendation models. Okay, so recommendation is one of the harder problems in machine learning. Okay, showing recommended items. People who bought this also bought this, or you bought this, you may like this. That kind of thing. It's very, very difficult to do. So we build a high-level service where you simply bring your data in CSV files. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so bring a list of items, a list of users, and how users have interacted with items. So user 1, 2, 3 clicked on item 4, 5, 6. So CSV file describing that, and then you upload that data to Personalize. You can select a training recipe. So we have some algos off the shelf that you can use. Or if you don't have a clue, you can use AutoML and say, okay, please select the most efficient algo. Click and wait for the models to be trained. Then you can deploy the model to an HTTPS endpoint and query it to get predictions. Okay, and again, anyone in this room can do it in 5 minutes. Okay, bring CSV files, users, items, user item interaction, select AutoML, wait for the model to be trained, deploy it in one click, and then invoke the endpoint and get recommendations. Okay, that's it. So in this case, you bring your own data, but you don't really mess with machine learning. Okay, it's really high level and completely simple, and you manage no infrastructure whatsoever. Okay, Forecast, okay, is still in preview, and it's exactly the same thing for time series. Okay, if you have time series data that you want to predict, okay, traffic jams from Kyiv airport to the center, just a random example. There's nothing to predict; it's jammed all the time. It's very easy, but electricity consumption, that kind of thing. Then exact same thing, you bring your time series in CSV files, upload them to Forecast, use one of the recipes, or use AutoML, click, or API calls, I guess. Deploy the model and predict. Okay, so still in preview, but not for too long, hopefully. So if you want to know more, I have a full session on those, but it's difficult to fit everything in there. If you're curious about Personalize, this is my blog post from last night. So it's on Jeff Barr's blog. So if you go to aws.amazon.com/blog/AWS, this is it. Okay, and you'll find a ton of information on Personalize, how to use it with historical data in S3, how to use it with streaming data. If you have a click stream of data, you can use that as well. So, okay, if you're curious, it's all in there. Okay. All right. Okay, so here's the family of AI services. Okay, I guess we'll keep adding more, but there's already a nice collection to play with. So how do you get started? The first thing, if you don't have an AWS account, I would recommend going to aws.amazon.com/free. It's what we call the free tier, and it's a way for you to use a lot of AWS services completely for free for 12 months. Up to a certain level of usage. If you call billion of APIs, yes, you're going to be charged. So if you read the guidelines here carefully, you'll know how to stay within the free tier. Okay, and all the services I talked about are in there. So you can try Rekognition, Poly, and all those good things completely for free. And there's more than enough API calls to get the job done. ml.aws is the high-level page for everything. If you want to see pricing, documentation, customer stories, etc., etc. We have what we call the Machine Learning Academy. It's a collection of online classes, completely free. Okay, you just need an account. So take a look. This is really targeted at people who don't have a lot of machine learning experience. So it takes you from complete newbie to someone who know what they're doing. Like I said, we have plenty of blog posts. We have a dedicated blog for machine learning, so you can take a look at that. And this is my blog on Medium. I have to say I focus more on SageMaker and the lower levels. But okay, we'll talk about that stuff later today. So there might be good things in there for you. If you want to stay in touch, so I'm here all day, and like Alex said, okay, don't be shy. Ask me questions. Okay. Ask me anything, really. I'm here to help. But later on, if you want to stay in touch, this is my Twitter account, and I'm more than happy to connect on LinkedIn and so on, of course. But Twitter is a good way to ask me questions. My direct messages are open, so you can just shoot me questions. And if you have a little bit of patience, I try to answer to everybody, okay? And I help you out. All right, thanks a lot. I hope you learned a few things. So do we have a short break? Yeah, I think we have a short break. And then we have a pretty cool session on unsupervised learning. So we're going to get into machine learning. And then after lunch, I'll be back with machine learning and containers. Okay, so that's pretty fun. And then I have a third session on SageMaker in the afternoon where we'll dive deep into deep learning, etc., etc. Okay, so again, ask me questions and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much.